as the NFL playoffs get underway.
Today, the 1991 playoffs begin. In our main match, it's the Falcons in the Dome. Gary's gone west for the Raiders and the Chiefs. And there's your penultimate chance to win a trip to the Super Bowl.
You're unbelievable.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you had a very Merry Christmas. Tonight, we start the 1991 playoffs. After 17 weeks of hard-fought games, 16 teams are now sitting at home dreaming about what might have been. Many of them know that in such a close race, one win or even one play going the other way, and it's them playing today. No better was this illustrated than with the San Francisco 49ers. If they had stopped Michael Haynes from the Falcons from making this last-second Hail Mary catch, or had the referees noticed that number 35, Mike Pritchard, had jumped offside on the same play, then the 49ers not only make the playoffs, but they also win the division. Instead, they're out, and we have 12 teams now vying for the title of NFL champions. Unfortunately, the 49ers are not the only casualties of the 91 season. In a league where winning appears to be everything, head coaches' heads roll when their teams don't make the playoffs. Therefore, joining the already decapitated Ron Meyer from Colts, Jerry Burns from the Vikings, John Robinson from the Rams, and Lindy Infante from the Packers are this week Dan Henning from the Chargers and Richard Williamson from the Buccaneers. And one of my favourites, Sam Wyche from the Bengals. Surprisingly, Cincinnati have already named his successor, Don Shula's son, David, who at 32 is the youngest head coach in NFL history, and he and his father also become a part of NFL trivia as the only father and son to hold head coaching jobs at the same time. By the way, Sam Wyche will also be my studio guest next week for the second round of the playoffs. I'm looking forward to that. Other surprises in the coaching ranks were the resignations of Chuck Knox from Seattle Seahawks and Chuck Noll from the Pittsburgh Steelers. That makes 9 coaching changes already this year, which is a record, and there may be more coming. But enough bad news. There are still 12 teams vying for the title of Super Bowl champion. 6 from the AFC and 6 from the NFC. The 3 division champions, along with the next 3 teams with the best records in each conference. These non-division winners are called wildcards. If 2 or more teams in the same conference have similar records, as do the Falcons, 49ers and Eagles in the NFC, then their records against one another or against the conference decides who qualifies. In this case, the Falcons beat the 49ers twice this year, and they had a better record against the NFC than the Eagles. Falcons in, 49ers and Philadelphia out of here. This weekend's 4 games are between the 6 wildcard teams and the division winner with the worst record from each conference. The other 4 division winners have a bye till next week. 2 games are played tomorrow. The Jets at the Oilers and the Cowboys are in Chicago to take on the Bears. You'll be able to see that match here on Channel 4 tomorrow night, starting at 8:15. Today, it's the Chiefs versus the Raiders and the Falcons at the Saints. In 1983, the Raiders became the first team to qualify for the playoffs as a wild card and go on to be Super Bowl champions. 9 seasons later, they're still the only team to achieve this feat. As for Kansas City, this isn't their first playoff appearance, but it is their first postseason game at Arrowhead Stadium. So, without further ado, let's go to Gary for the road game to see if the Raiders can move one step closer to a repeat of their 1983 championship. The last not only for them, but also for any team from the AFC. Gary?
Mick, call this one the generation game, because although we knew that the Chiefs would be led today by the league's oldest starting quarterback, 37-year-old Steve DeBerg, the big news from Arrowhead is that the Raiders have decided to put their Super Bowl hopes in the hands of the NFL's youngest, 22-year-old rookie Todd Marinovich. He's played only one other pro game in his life, That was subbing for Jay Schrader last week against the Chiefs, and although the Raiders lost, he was impressive enough to get the start again today. Todd Marinovic's arrival in the NFL is the result of 22 years of planning by his father Marv, who raised him to play quarterback almost from birth. Last week, son did father proud. Throwing for over 240 yards and 3 touchdowns, he picked apart the Chiefs' secondary with the poise of a veteran and a touch that Jay Schrader simply doesn't possess. He also exhibited a quickness of release, which denied Derek Thomas and company a single sack. Less newsworthy than Marinovic's debut, but equally significant, was the performance of Kansas City's Steve DeBerg, who only a few weeks earlier had been benched by Marty Schottenheimer after 6 interceptions in 2 games. DeBerg, who turned pro when Marinovic was 5, is a master of the play-action pass, and against the Raiders, he worked it to perfection. The result was 2 big touchdown passes to J.J. Burden, who finished the day with 188 yards receiving. Of course, to set up the play fake, you need a good running game, and power remains the Chiefs' chief weapon. Last week, the Raiders could stop neither Barry Word nor Christian Okoye, as Kansas City outrushed them 206 yards to 70. Defense is obviously going to be one of the keys of this game for the Raiders. In their last 3 regular season games, they recorded 3 straight defeats and gave up an average 450 yards a game. So they'll be looking to defensive veterans like Bob Golick and Ronnie Lott, who've been to the playoffs before, to get a porous defense, to step up the intensity and specifically to stop the run. On offense, they'll be looking to get their own running game going to take the pressure off Todd Marinovic. Defensively, Kansas City will obviously want to keep that pressure on Marinovic, and the big imponderable for them on offense will be whether Dr. DeBerg or Mr. Hyde turns up to play at quarterback. So here we go, the first ever playoff game at Arrowhead Stadium between 2 teams with a genuine rivalry. One led by the quarterback of the future, the other by a man who knows that these playoffs may be his last.
J.J. Burden, who caught 8 balls, including 2 long scoring strikes, is off to DeBerg's right. And they press him at the line of scrimmage. Now they drop quickly off on the snap. DeBerg fires again underneath to Thomas. He has hit him twice in a row. Thomas out to the 33-yard line, and Lionel Washington there defensively for the Raiders.
See, what they do is they force you to take on those 4 300-pound offensive linemen and a 245-pound back. They pound on you, they pound on you. All of a sudden, they get your first down. You're playing the run. They come with that play action. That was a combination pattern to work against both man or zone. They went zone, they threw the zone receiver.
Howie Long in the middle of that defensive line, lining up at left tackle inside of Townsend. Barry Word steps into the middle of that defense, and Townsend, what's important here, Dick, is that he went down on the initial hit. So many times last Sunday, he would get through the initial hit, and it would be the support from the secondary and the linebackers that would finally bring him down.
Well, I tell you what Howie Long told me last night. He said, Coach, there was no lack of intensity last week. There was lack of location. We didn't tackle them low enough. Our location was not good. Today we're going after them much lower.
3rd and short from the eye, and guess who? Barry Word. There he broke the first tackle, made it to the 39-yard line, and a Kansas City first down.
Whenever you run the ball in short yardage from the I formation, you have to rely on your fullback. Follow the big fullback, number 43, Jones. See, he gets the little turnout block out there and allows Ward to break up inside, and then just his own power, he runs through people. You've got to get your pads down, and you've got to hit him low, and you've got to hit him with more than 1 or 2 people.
So many talented running backs on this Kansas City team. Christian Okoye, who's been out with a little bit of an injured knee, can play today. Harvey Williams is back. Barry Word stopped on first down, and this is going to leave the Chiefs with a 2nd and 10 as Scott Davis, number 70, came up big.
You know, Scott made a few of those plays last week, and this is what the Raiders have to do. They have to shut down that first down run, and I think the way they can do that, Brent, is be more aggressive with the charge of the down 4 linemen. Last week, they looked like they did a lot of reading and flowing. I think this week, they're going to attack a little bit more and take those big people on.
37-year-old Steve DeBerg, the oldest starting quarterback in the NFL, and with Pat Leahy off the active list for the Jets, the oldest player in the NFL. In uniform as we begin the playoffs. Off a play fake, buys himself time, and hits his fullback, Jones. So the running back who has not carried the ball from scrimmage once slips out and burns the Raider defense as a receiver, something he has done against Los Angeles in the past.
Well, again, they see Jones is their lead blocker. He never carries the football, hasn't carried the ball once all year. But he goes to lead block instead of blocking. He slips out into the flat for the completion.
16 yards, takes it inside the Raider 45-yard line. This the Chiefs' initial drive. Word blasts for a couple of yards, and now he has carried the ball 6 of the 9 plays the Chiefs have called so far. Bob Golick and Ricky Ellison there defensively for the Raiders. Now they will change the pace a little bit as Marty Schottenheimer sends Harvey Williams, number 44, the young man from LSU, into the game. He's a little flashier, gives him a little more dash out of that backfield. DeBerg gets time again and fires to Thomas. That's his 3rd completion on this drive. So it was Burden last Sunday, and today it is Rob Thomas who has caught 3 for 18 yards.
You know, they put Harvey Williams in there actually as a decoy. He is their outside runner, their elusive runner, as you said, Brent. This time he was the pass protection man. Moss, the linebacker, came, he blitzed, he blocked him nicely, allowed DeBerg time to throw that completed pass.
And getting a pat on the helmet for his blocking effort that time. Last time, the playoff game a year ago down in Miami, the Chiefs were only 1 of 11 on 3rd down. They've already converted 2 here today. And Barry Word breaks off that first defender and gets inside the 35-yard line, close to a 1st down. This is going to depend on the spot. Lionel Washington makes the hit, and Howie Long cleans it up.
They're going to measure. I would assume right off the bat that they will go for it, Brent. They have momentum. They want to get this crowd even into the game a little bit more. They've been very good on 4th down situations and converting 12 of 20. Chances are they're going to go ahead and pound at it.
If I had Barry Word.
Or, hey, why not put in your 260-pounder? He's ready to play.
Christian
Okoye.
They are playing this like the New York Giants of a year ago. A 7-minute drive here with their first possession. Coming up to their 4th down. And, of course, Bill Parcells made a living off of 4th downs in the Giants' drive for a championship a year ago. For the season, the Chiefs are 12 of 20 on 4th down and make it 13 of 21 as Word goes behind the middle of the offensive line. Barry Word is a remarkable story. He was suspended and actually spent time in prison down in New Orleans for intent to distribute cocaine. Then he came out and decided that he was tired of football, left the team, went back to the East Coast, and the Chiefs came after him a couple of seasons ago. Carl Peterson contacted him. The young man passes a drug test twice a week, and here he is, one of the fine runners in the National Football League, blasting through the middle to the 20-yard line.
Real good job by David Zott, Tim Grunhard, and David Lutz inside. See, good block right there by Grunhard, number 61. The key block at that. He blocked the nose guard. The nose guard went to the offensive right. He ran in behind him efficiently. Good job of reading that block.
Just like last Sunday, the Raider defense having difficulty stopping the running game of Kansas City, and that makes everything else open up for the Chiefs. Word again. Got a couple of yards to the 17-yard line, and Eddie Anderson, number 33. Certainly Ronnie Lott gets and deserves a lot of publicity, but I know, Dick, that you feel, along with a lot of other football folks, that Anderson is really underrated.
Last week, he was a little too aggressive against play-action passing and got burned.
And, of course, what makes that play-action work is the success of a running game, because they need run support when Barry Word starts to crash behind the tackles like he's done here so far in the opening quarter. Ricky Ellison there defensively.
Right. See, we're up to almost 10 minutes on this drive, and they haven't thrown them for a loss of any kind. They've got to come with some kind of defensive call that includes linebacker blitz that is tough to pick up by the zone blocking of the offensive line, and see if they can't hit them in the backfield.
They want to start the Atlanta-New Orleans game early. This may be the quickest playoff game in history.
There's the brain trust.
Archell still got time to change his mind and start Jay Schrader after all. 16th play coming up on this drive for the Chiefs. Very word, and there's the best defensive effort, and it was Ellison, number 50, getting across the line defensively for the Raiders. And that will force the Chiefs to go for a field goal. Big play by Ricky Ellison. The great veteran kickers, Nick Lauer. 33-yard attempt.
He doesn't miss many. 8 for 8 from this distance this year.
And he does miss here. The Raiders have to take heart. And now the focus shifts to young Todd Marinovich. Will he be as successful in a hostile environment as he was on his home turf in the Los Angeles Coliseum? We're about to find out. And the crowd is going to make it difficult for him to audible at the line of scrimmage. No question. The hand is to the fullback, Smith. So something we could see today is Steve Smith, the veteran out of Penn State, late for Joe Paterno. 2nd and 7 from Marinovich. Ball on the Raiders 23, and Marcus Allen's first carry hit by Dan Saliamuo, the nose man of the Chiefs. 3rd down as the Raiders come out running. Only 2 running plays in the second half a week ago. They equal that on the first 2 snaps here this afternoon. There was movement in the line, the penalty flag down. Marinovich throws high and incomplete. Let's see if the defensive lineman was drawn off.
I didn't see any offensive player move. They're closer to it.
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
Dick, how disheartening is that missed field goal from Marty Schottenheimer and the Chiefs?
Well,
Number
first
63, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
here's a look at that. You'll see the man move on the middle of your screen. They're getting ready to crank up and go up. There he goes. Right there, that's Bill Moss. No offensive player moved or lifted the hand. Of course, he thinks someone did. Getting back to your point, though, it takes a little out of you, especially when your whole offensive philosophy is ball control. You control the ball and don't get anything out of it, you're in trouble.
Here is Smith again. 3 tough yards. It's Archell trying to bring together the Raiders, who come into the playoffs with a 3-game losing streak. First time ever for Los Angeles or Oakland. Marcus Allen stepping back into the hole. Derek Thomas, number 58.
Derek Thomas comes really quick off the outside and right down underneath the blocker. Here he is, and he told us yesterday they were going to turn him loose a little bit more. See, he got his pads underneath the blocker, kept penetrating, and got to the ball carrier. Good job by Derek Thomas.
Always watch out for Derek Thomas on artificial turf. He is so quick that it is almost impossible for many of the offensive blockers to get him when he's playing on surface like this. Now Marinovich. He gets his time. Intercepted. Picked off by Cherry. So Marinovich did not throw a single interception last Sunday, and he throws a big one here in the opening quarter. From the shotgun, which means that Todd McNair is into that backfield. 4 wide receivers. The offensive line didn't give him enough time as Davis got off his block and came in from behind and came close to forcing a fumble. That's the second huge play by Davis in this game.
Scott Davis came all the way around the outside of John Alt. Now, the sack was really caused by the coverage. See, he had nobody to throw to. Plenty of time to throw. Coverage did a good job. And here comes Big Davis all the way around the outside, getting his 7th sack.
A 44-yard attempt to make it 47. He has missed from 33. This one's wide to the right. So Nick Lowry 0 for 2. after the 10-yard run by Allen on first down. This is Marcus again, and the veteran gets to the 45-yard line. A little bit different game plan for the Raiders here this afternoon.
More emphasis on the running. And do you notice how Marcus comes to the line of scrimmage? Not full bore. He's coming there gliding a little bit, and he's looking and going to pick the spot he's going to run rather than blasting up in there blindly. And the Raiders use big, wide line splits, and that spreads that defense out.
Eric Everett still playing at the left corner. I'm sure the offensive coaches will want to test him before long. Milinovich snaps one to the left to Galt. Galt to the 33-yard line. He has been missing in action the last few weeks for the Raiders also.
Well, only caught 20 balls all year. Has 298 of them in his career, but only 20 this season. Normally, that's not the receiver's fault. It's either game plan by the coaches or the quarterback or coverage is just not letting him get it there.
1st and 10. Allen cutting back and stopped at the 30-yard line. Saleamua.
Marcus Allen, the ball carrier.
Marcus Allen, if there ever is anybody that was a Raider, he is one. The #1 rusher in the history of the organization. 8,244 yards, Brent. That's a lot of rushing yards.
Take the word from the Chiefs bench. Barnett, injured left hip. Questionable as to whether or not he'll return here today.
You know,
and the Chiefs say that they were pulled off as they come busting across the line.
You know what I sometimes can't figure out from the booth? I probably did the same thing when I was on the field, but I look down there, they throw a pass to Willie Galt on an all-pro corner. At the other corner, playing in an injured player's position, is a guy from the free agents. I mean, out of the World League, and has hardly played at all. Why not throw at him? What do you think?
That's why we make a living in the booth, second-guessing decisions like that. Wisniewski.
Anthony Parker over there, the one spot.
Wisniewski was the lineman that moved and pulled the defense offside. So that brings the ball back to the other side of the 35-yard line. And now the tight end Horton lining up in the backfield. He'll slip out. Milinovich hit from behind. The ball is free, and the Chiefs recover. Moss pounces on the free ball.
So not the most auspicious start for the rookie then, but the Chiefs continued to waste opportunities to build a commanding lead as fast as the Raiders presented them. First, Steve DeBerg was intercepted by Ronnie Lott after his pass was tipped. Then, after a Raiders punt gave them another chance to score, Harvey Williams brought another promising drive to a premature end with a fumble well into Raiders territory. We joined the Raiders with the ball back at their own 29, no score and 2 turnovers apiece.
Todd Milinovich only 1 of 5. An interception and a fumble. Drops it back inside and almost intercepted. Chris Martin with a chance. It was down low. Made a reaching try on the ball. So Milinovich little off his rhythm in this game.
Well, he threw it behind Steve Smith, who was running a delay from the fullback position out underneath the tight end, and he just threw it a little behind him.
Nick Bell, his running back. It was 4 games ago that the Raiders last won, and that was a low-scoring game. They used 3 field goals to beat San Diego 9-7. Since then, they were beaten in overtime by Buffalo, embarrassed by New Orleans, and then lost to the Chiefs. Here is Nick Bell, breaks the first tackle, and blasts to the 33. Marcus Allen back in at running back on this 3rd down for the Raiders.
Blitz.
Stands in, intercepted. Cherry's 2nd of the game. And run out of bounds by Milinovich at the 11-yard line. The 2nd interception by the young Raider quarterback.
Deron Cherry picking off 2 today, gives him 52 in his career. Holy mackerel.
That's 3 turnovers already by young Milinovich. This one giving the Chiefs an excellent scoring opportunity with a first down at the 11-yard line. Here is Barry Ward. Play fake's beautiful. Play faked everybody. Touchdown is the signal. A beautiful play fake, and Fred Jones gets open at the back of the end zone. What Steve DeBerg does as well as anybody in the NFL, that one-handed play fake. Here's the 32-yard field goal attempt, and it is perfect. So the Pro Bowl kicker for the AFC, Jeff Yeager, with a 33-yarder, puts the Raiders on the scoreboard.
So the Chiefs led 7-3 at half-time, but they were losing players at a worrying rate. They began the second half with 4 defensive starters injured, the most serious absence being that of Derek Thomas, who was taken to hospital with an irregular heartbeat. We joined the Raiders' first drive of the second half.
First down. Bell swings it outside. Bell, a good runner to the outside at Iowa, and he has shown flashes of that here in the National Football League. 19 yards for Bell, and another Raider first down. Art Shell's approach has changed completely, as last week the Raiders ran only 2 times in their second half loss to the Chiefs. Already they have run 4 times, and they may have discovered another emerging star in Nick Bell.
Well, I'll tell you, he's carried the ball 10 times with 65 yards. You might as well put the saddle on him and ride him. Let him run.
They'll do just that. To the 25-yard line, Neil Smith makes the stop.
See, there's the same thing we were talking about with Kansas City's running backs. Neil Smith hit him on the line of scrimmage. Neil Smith is, 285-pound defensive end, hits him, but what does Bell do? He falls forward.
They have 4 starters missing from that defense right now, one of whom is back there at that safety spot as Kevin Porter was replaced by the veteran Lloyd Burris.
See, this starts affecting their nickel coverages as well, their 6-packs.
Here's Bell, angling off to the right, reaching for the first down.
Real fine lead block by Steve Smith, the fullback from Penn State. Marty Schottenheimer told me the other day, he says, I think he's the best blocking back we face. You'll see what I'm talking about here. Concentrate on the fullback to the left side of your screen. Watch him lead through. Watch him lead through. There's the hole. Boom! Look at that nice block. Really stick and stay, shoulders in good position. Nice job.
Getting back on that point about the Raiders and Al Davis. He didn't like his start time. He didn't like a lot of things, but that was just the rallying cry that this organization uses. They love it when it's us against the world. And right now, it's them against the Kansas City Chiefs, with Bell pounding down to the 10-yard line.
Mosbar, excuse me, Brent. Mosbar and Wisniewski are controlling the inside there right now. They are controlling it.
The Raiders have come to run here in the second half. Milinovich has thrown 2 interceptions already. They're going to try to pound it in against this injury-riddled linebacking core of the Chiefs. There's no question what the approach is going to be from now on.
And you can see that Kansas City has been really tough down inside there to score on.
This is Bell to the 9-yard line. He'll need a couple of yards to get the first down.
Bell at Iowa had a hard time staying healthy. He'd have one great game, and then he'd be dinged for a few ball games and never flash again, and then he'd come back and play well again. But remember, we saw a game tape of him against somebody that he just played outstanding a year ago. I think it was against Illinois. He dominated the game.
Yes, it was.
See, this takes a lot of pressure off Marinovich.
Here's the third down. Raiders must get inside the 7-yard line. Bell not getting it. The Chiefs defense holds as Neil Smith is really standing tall for the Chiefs right now. Yeager ready to come on the field. He will attempt the field goal.
What they did is they covered the 3 internal linemen, and Neil Smith, the left end, jumped underneath on a stunt as the design of the defense, got the penetration, stopped him. At least slowed him down there so the other people could rally and make the play.
Jeff Yeager in field goal formation. Jeff Gossett holding.
This is the chip shot for this guy. Here's the Pro Bowl punter for the AFC, Jeff Gossett.
He'll do the holding, and he's one of the better holders in the NFL, too. Part of this that's often overlooked. He's perfect. 3:10 to go now. 3rd and 8 from Marinovich and the Raiders. Great time, throws the swing to Allen. Ball comes free on the hip, and the Chiefs pounce on it. Lonnie Martz strips the ball from Marcus Allen.
That was a big play by Lonnie. We've been talking about him. He had to come up with one. Bill Cowher, the defensive coordinator, congratulates him.
It's Barry Ward to the 23-yard line, and this will be a 3rd down play coming up for the Chiefs. The Chiefs need to get inside 17-yard line. DeBerg, and fires for the 1st down to Fred Jones.
Think that time he got time to allow the pattern to develop. That took some time. He looked at the coverage. He moved around. See, he didn't want to go there automatically. The coverage forced him there. There he is on Lionel Washington, bump and run. He gets a hand on him. Now he can't touch him any longer. He pushes in. Now he comes back for the football. See, you must come back for that football, throwing perfectly.
Howie Long back in the middle of that Raider defensive line. He'll get down at left tackle. Raiders looking for a big play. Chiefs will try to finish it off. Great fake again by DeBerg. Drops underneath, and it is the fullback Jones. Bill Jones with his 2nd reception of the day. And that play has caught the Raider defense twice. 2nd down. Word. And he crashes for a 1st and goal for the Chiefs.
Marty Schottenheimer. Well, I tell you, over the last few years, has anybody done a better job than Marty Schottenheimer? They have struggled.
Now 1st and goal. Jones in front of Word. You would think that that would be the call. Word battling toward the goal line. Down just short of it. Winston Moss making the play defensively.
He was tackled by Winston Moss.
James Saxon, number 21, checks into the backfield. They have 3 running backs, and it is Saxon at the tailback spot behind Jones, and Word will come behind the 2 of them, reaching for the goal line.
Barry Word on the carry.
See, Saxon is another big back out of San Jose at 235. He's a fine blocker and an excellent special teams player, and I have seen him run real well during the preseason.
3rd down is coming up, but I got a question. What do you do if you're Kansas City and you just miss by inches again?
You go ahead and, I think, run it.
So you've got 2 plays here to put it in. You wouldn't kick the field goal if you come up just inches short.
I think so. I think
now, this is 3rd down coming up.
Remember what the Raiders did in the 4th quarter last week? A couple big plays. Hey, they brought the game back.
Well, certainly Marty Schottenheimer and his staff have already made that decision. 3rd and goal. Word again, and I believe he's short of it. He was stuffed down there. Ronnie Lott stepped up along with Ellison.
7-6. The field goal would put at least them out of the reach of the field goal.
The boos, the reaction for Nick Lowry.
They're going to go ahead and kick it.
Now, the thought here by Schottenheimer is, if you add the field goal, you're up by 4. And that means it would take a touchdown to beat you. You could not lose to a field goal. So he's playing a numbers game right now. That's why he's going to have Lowry attempt this field goal. An 18-yarder, and of course, that's just a huge number. The fact that he's never missed 3 in a game, and he hasn't missed 3 here today either.
The Raiders had one last chance to come back, but after getting to the Kansas City 24, they drove themselves back 35 yards with penalties to end an untidy losing performance. So the Raiders' big gamble backfires, and the Chiefs are going to the 2nd round of the playoffs for the first time in 21 years. Perhaps it was the occasion that eventually got to Tom Marinovich. Perhaps it was just that Kansas City had had a week to prepare for him this time. Whatever the reason, he turned the ball over 5 times today, 4 of them interceptions. He may become a great quarterback for the Raiders in the future, but for the moment, he's going to feel the heat for this season-ending loss. And what's more, Art Shell is going to feel the heat for choosing him to start this game over the more experienced Jay Schrader.
Well, in the first half, we really couldn't get a whole lot going. Our defense kept getting the ball back for us and getting a couple of turnovers and stopping Kansas City from really pushing into the end zone. And offensively, we just couldn't get on track. First couple of times, the kid had a couple of interceptions where they played a coverage that not that he wasn't expecting, but he did not see what they were trying to do to him.
I didn't want to take that uniform off. I didn't want that season to end so quickly. I mean, I'm playing with some legends, and it was so fun. It's a tough way to end the season.
I'm sure you're savouring this win, but any sympathy for Todd Marinovich?
I mean, he wasn't in an easy situation, and it was a very tough situation. And he made some plays, but it's in the playoffs for a rookie to get the job done is very, very difficult. It would have been exceptional, we got a good defense, and it's not easy to play against it.
We didn't practice for Marinovich. We didn't practice for Schrader. We just wanted to do some things defensively that we knew would be successful regardless of who was in there at quarterback. And it just happened to be that Ty was going to play. And, I looked at a lot of film on Jay Schrader, and I looked at a lot of film on Ty Marinovich. I just kept going over and over and over the game he played last week. And, I may have looked at that film 6-7 times.
So having won their first ever home playoff game here at Arrowhead, the Chiefs will now go on the road for the second round of the playoffs, either to Buffalo if Houston beat the Jets tomorrow, or to Denver if the Jets win. For the NFC half of today's double bill, let's go back to the studio now and Mick.
Thanks very much, Gary. Well, not a particularly proud moment for either team, but the Kansas City Chiefs do move on. As for the Raiders, Art Shell obviously disappointed. Their team motto, pride and poise. Towards the end of that game, they really didn't show that, and that's what they'll be working at. As for Marinovich, he's a young player, and, well, as for feeling sorry for him, I don't expect any of the Chiefs to do that. But he is going to be their quarterback of the future. Some people said that Schrader should have gone in late in the game. I disagree. If the Raiders are going to improve and move on to the Super Bowl perhaps next year, they need to give Marinovich the time. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what the Kansas City Chiefs do in the second round. But now, before we go for a break, time to give you the name of our competition winner. The first name out of the bag was Paul McGrath from Bracknell in Berkshire, who's 16 and a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I won't hold that against him. His name will be in the draw for a trip for 2 to Super Bowl 26, which will happen during our live championship game on January the 12th. We'll give you the winner of last week's top touchdown competition tomorrow. We'll also have another competition for you later in the program. But first, time for this. Welcome back. For our main game today, we couldn't have asked for a better matchup. In the NFC's Western Division, the Falcons and Saints fought tooth and nail all the way to the final game before the division title was decided. Both teams at times have played like champions, but they've also lapsed into habits of old, that of losing to lesser teams. Interestingly, when they played head-to-head this year, both teams lost on their home turf. But don't let that fool you. The Falcons' loss to the Cowboys last week was a costly one. It not only cost them the division to the Saints, but it also gave New Orleans home field advantage today. And that's a big advantage, as when the Saints play at home, New Orleans, in all its pageantry, is out to support them. Nowhere around the league are there a more dedicated or vocal set of supporters than at the Superdome, and the Saints players always rise to the occasion. Head coach Jim Moore, in 4 years, has taken a previously lacklustre franchise and made it into one of the most feared in football. Defensively, this team rivals the Eagles. No quarterback is safe. Pat Swilling, the league's leading sacker with 17, strikes fear into opposing offensive linemen. Mills and Johnson, the inside linebackers, are so dominant, they'll join Swilling in Honolulu for the Pro Bowl. And on the other side of the line, it's team leader and guru of the Dome Patrol, Ricky Jackson. If these guys perform, this will be a party the Falcons wish they'd missed. But perhaps the most feared man on the Saints roster is on their offense, quarterback Bobby Hebert. Before his injury, this team was 7-1 and surging towards a division title. But without Hebert, they were a disaster. They lost 4 in a row, and with 2 games remaining, were in jeopardy of missing the playoffs. Hebert returned, and the Saints galloped to victory over the Raiders and Cardinals by a combined score of 54-3. Receiver Eric Martin and running back Dalton Hilliard mean a lot to this offense, but Hebert means everything to the team. For the Falcons, it's Jerry Glanville that this team rallies around. In 2 years, he's transformed this group of young men into a team of hired assassins. His boisterous, flamboyant, aggressive character manifests itself on the field through his players. Tim McKay, Scott Case and Dion Primetime Sanders, like Jerry, aren't the most popular people in the league, but you can't argue with the results. Their defensive philosophy is make things happen. If one man can hit the ball carrier, you all can. And when all else fails, rally together and force the issue. Offensively, things are a little more controlled. Chris Miller is beginning to show the maturity the coaches had hoped for, and with the help of Michael Haynes and Andre Rison, he's proved the Falcons are a threat to score from anywhere. On the ground, they haven't dominated as Jerry would like. The injured Broussard has been magnificent at times, but Pegram and Rozier just haven't got it done. One man that has, though, is offensive tackle Mike Ken, who's held Pat Swilling sackless in these teams' 2 previous meetings and is allowed only 1 sack all year. An amazing feat. Today, if the pass is working early, expect to see the ground game blossom. If it doesn't, it'll be a long day for Miller and the Falcons, as the Dome Patrol lead the dancing, as the Saints go marching on. So without further ado, let's go to New Orleans. Our match commentators are Frank Gifford, Al Michaels and Dan Deardorff. So sit back and buckle up for a rough ride in the Superdome.
Norm Johnson, the longtime Seattle Seahawk who lost his job to John Casey in preseason and then was picked up by Atlanta, and he's had a great year. Kicks off for the Falcons. And back deep, Fred McAfee, the rookie, the man in the middle. And the kick is taken by McAfee from the 9 back to the 22-yard line. Saints begin at the 22-yard line with Bobby Hebert. Born in the area, went to school in the area, raised and makes his home here, and has become once again a popular man. Finnerty starts, though we will see a lot of the rookie McAfee and also Hilliard. Jordan, the blocking back. Martin and Early outside. Brenner is the tight end. And the guys up front, including Stan Brock, in his 12th season. So he has been through the thick and the thin, mainly the thin. But here he is in the playoffs. 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line. Hebert throws, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Hobie Brenner. Over the middle, he was blanketed by the outside linebacker, Robert Lyles. Now the Atlanta defense, and they gamble a lot. Brian, Mo Gardner, the Illinois rookie, has done a nice job at nose tackle, and Tim Green is undersized at right end. Lyles, Rady, Tuggle is a man to watch, and Darian Connor on the outside. The great corners, McKay and Sanders. Jordan is the strong safety, and the veteran Scott Case, the free safety. They love to blitz. They love to send the secondary. 2nd down and 10 from the 22. McAfee, a 6th-round draft choice out of Mississippi College. And that's not Ole Miss. Mississippi College, a small school, tackled by Tim Green. It'll be 3rd and 9. Hebert with the play clock down to 5. And they give it to the up back. It's a fumble by Hilliard, who picks it back up and then is swarmed under. Unusual looking play. Hilliard lined up right next to Hebert, in effect, taking the handoff, fumbling it, recovering it, but the Saints are stopped and they're forced to kick.
You know, I think, Dan, that's a good play if you get the blitz. And they were anticipating the blitz from Atlanta. They didn't get it. That's a big play if you get the blitz, and it didn't work.
Tommy Barnhart to do the punting. Sanders to receive it at the 40. There's a flag down as Barnhart got buried. Sanders brings it back to the 47, but we're going to probably have a roughing call. Tracy Johnson, number 43, ran into Barnhart, and that's the signal from Howard Rowe, the referee.
Johnson comes right up the middle.
Well, they blocked 7 kicks this year, and they really go for it. Special teams means a lot to Jerry Glanville.
Tracy Johnson, there he is right in the middle of your screen, number 43.
Roughing the kicker, 15-yard penalty.
It's a clean miss, and he buries Barnhart, and that is a very good call by the official. The punter is so vulnerable in that position. Actually, Barnhart quite lucky he had his left leg up in the air, or he would have really gotten his knee caved in. But so typical of the way the Falcons play football. It is all out every play. Oftentimes good, sometimes bad. Look at that, 3 punts, 2 field goals, 2 extra points. It was almost 8, but this is what happens. Almost results in a Saints first down.
1st and 10, New Orleans at the 37. Just the start of things in the Superdome. With Tice in motion, the fake to McAfee. Hebert, after buying time, goes deep and incomplete because McKyer was right there on Quinn Early, had him totally blanketed.
We talked about these 2 corners. Tim McKyer, who of course came from Miami in a trade this past season, number 22. You've heard a lot about him. They locked him up man on man all the time, and here he comes. He's locked up tight on Early Quinn, and he is looking right back at the quarterback. He has good acceleration. Once that ball is in the air and released, forget it, he is going to be on the man, and this is what New Orleans is going to have to be concerned with, because these 2 guys are deadly on the corners. Both of them have 6 interceptions, and they're great return men when they pick it off.
2nd and 10 at the 37-yard line. Early in motion. Again, the fake to McAfee, and then he dumps it off for Jordan, who makes a juggling catch. He makes the catch before stepping out of bounds at the 42-yard line. It's a gain of about 5. Scott Case on the coverage.
That time Bobby Hebert got some good protection up front. There was a blitz, and it was picked up. But Jordan made it exciting to see the blitz pick up in the middle, and it's not often you'll see a running back who botches the first catch that badly and then is still able to maintain his concentration and pick it up.
3rd and 5. That's Martin in motion. Hebert from the gun throws an out pattern. It is caught by Martin, and Martin has a first down.
Well, Martin is the control man. Hebert has looked at this defense. They played each other twice before. He has seen it. He knew where he could put the ball to his control man, the underneath man, Eric Martin, the leading receiver, and Martin just does squeak the first down, takes it away from Bobby Butler.
Went early in motion to the left, and a little toss to the rookie McAfee. And he is met and pushed back from the line of scrimmage. Brian Jordan makes the initial hit, and Jerry Glanville loves to talk about getting a lot of hats on the ball. It means a lot of tacklers, and you'll see that a lot from the Atlanta Falcons.
And I'm not sure that Brian Jordan needed a lot of help. That was just a fine open field tackle by this dual sport guy. Brian Jordan, a baseball player in the St. Louis Cardinals baseball organization, was all the way up to the AAA level, wasn't he, Al?
Played in Louisville last year.
Watch this tackle, though. Jordan's going to come in from the right, and look at him get the shoulder down, and boy, that's a good tackle on McAfee, and the Falcons, a lot of two-way people.
Dalton Hilliard is the sole running back in this set. On 2nd and 11, over the middle, a nice catch is made by Quinn Early, a first down at the Atlanta 40. He is tackled by Bobby Butler.
Again, the blitz was on. The Falcons gambling, and watch at the top of your screen. And McKyer is working on Early, and Early beat McKyer just as we watched Michael Irving of the Dallas Cowboys do it a week ago. McKyer is the man you want to go against if you get a man-for-man situation, and it pays off early for the Saints.
First down at the 40-yard line, 10:35 remaining in a scoreless first quarter. Hebert escaping pressure, throws, the catch is made at the 28-yard line by Eric Martin. Another first down.
You heard my colleagues talking about Eric Martin, a number of catches. He led the team. He's led this team for 5 consecutive years, and it's catches like that that make you do it over time. Not a blazingly fast guy. He's not going to run by anybody if they're trying to keep him from running by, but just nice hands and good precise routes by Eric Martin.
Good work by Hebert, too. That really is not his strong suit, rolling out and throwing the football, but he got it right in there, about the only place it could be caught.
1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. McAfee, and he is hit immediately by Jesse Tuggle after a minimal gain. We mentioned at the top, the Falcons like to live on the edge, and because they live on the edge, they haven't had the ball yet. Remember, they stopped New Orleans 3 and out, but then the roughing the kicker penalty, and that's what happens when you live on the edge. A lot of penalties, and New Orleans tries to capitalize on it.
Here's a guy that's disappointed about not being picked to the Pro Bowl this year. Jesse Tuggle, by far and away the leading tackler of the Atlanta Falcons, and that was just a nice read. Slid right into the hole, stayed with it, wrapped up, and brought the guy down by himself.
2nd and 8 from the 26-yard line. 6 minutes into the game, no score. Hebert stepping up again. Over the middle, wide open, touchdown, Turner.
Oh, Dion. Dion let Turner go, and he was wide open, and Bobby Hebert, he has great presence. We saw him a couple of weeks ago after being out for 6 or 8 weeks. Come on, and just looked like he'd been there forever. Now watch this, top of your screen. There Dion starts to take him in. He looks like he thinks he's going to get help. Lets him go, and he just pulls up at the goal line. Floyd Turner, easy touchdown. Well, again, they gamble a lot, and they make a lot of mistakes.
Sanders is playing zone. I mean, Sanders was playing his outside third of the field. He pointed over into the middle to yell to whoever was supposed to be there.
There was no one there.
Then here he comes. I mean, it was obvious that Deion Sanders was playing a zone coverage all the way. And I don't want to overstate my own athletic prowess, but I think I could have thrown a touchdown pass there.
You might have even caught it.
Turner was wide open for a TD.
In the first meeting this season between the Saints and the Falcons, New Orleans' defense was dominant, sacking quarterback Chris Miller 4 times, whilst the offense was racking up the points. Dalton Hilliard had the most impressive score of the day with his 65-yard touchdown. Final score, New Orleans 27, Atlanta 6. In the return in the Louisiana Superdome in Week 13, it was a more balanced but still spectacular contest.
Comes the reverse flea flicker. Holy cow! Turner to the 2. Haynes is open. Touchdown Falcons.
Tied at 20 apiece, the teams went into overtime. And after Morton Anderson missed a 55-yard field goal attempt, Norm Johnson sealed the victory with this 50-yarder. Falcons by 3 in overtime. The Saints had a chance to extend their lead on the next possession, but Deion Sanders intercepted Bobby Hebert in the end zone. The Falcons couldn't convert the opportunity, though. Ricky Jackson forcing and recovering a fumble by Chris Miller. 6 plays later, Morton Anderson gave the Saints a 10-point lead with this 45-yard field goal. We rejoin the action on the Falcons' next drive.
First down, Atlanta at the 35-yard line. Here's Mike Rozier. Nice move by Rozier to break tackles in the backfield and turn what would have been a loss into a 7-yard gain. Reggie Jones knocks him down.
Former great star, Heisman Award winner in Nebraska, and then, of course, the USFL, and then at Houston, and probably would have seen much more of him had it not been that I think Jerry Glanville flat wants the youngster in the Pegram to pick up any potential blitz. And that's, if there's one area that Rozier might be a little light on, and that is that. And you don't want to lose your quarterback. And so Rozier is going to get spot work. But great running back, Mike Rozier.
2nd and 3, Falcons at the 42. 10 minutes to go in the half. 10-0 Saints. Rozier on 2nd and 3 has the first down, a lot more, takes it across the 50, stopped at the Saint 48-yard line by Milton Mack.
Well, the question now for the Atlanta Falcons, they seem to have gotten into a groove where they're moving the ball and moving it effectively. Can they keep from self-destructing? That's what they've been doing so far. All right, look right in the middle. Look at the good seal block on the left side. There's an effective block by Dukes, the center. Freilich, the right guard, turned out, and a gaping aperture in the middle of the Saints defense.
First and 10 at the 48-yard line. Risen in motion. Miller throws to Risen and incomplete, and that's about the best thing that could have happened to the Falcons because Gene Atkins was right there. He would have made the tackle for about a 4-yard loss.
Dan said it was a chess game. Remember 2 plays ago when they did the screen to the flanker on the right side, they caught him in the blitz over on that side. That time they caught them in a zone over on the left side. Forget it, there's no play at all.
The zone rotates right up into it, and you're right. You hear coaches say all the time what a chess game it is, and we try to make the call, and we hope that they kind of move their men, their pieces in the other direction, and that's when you see a big play.
Not guesswork, but it's studied for many, many hours over the course of the week. They look for frequencies, and they hope they get it.
But sometimes it's just luck.
2nd and 10. And over the middle, the catch is made by Mike Haynes, who normally goes further downfield. He is stopped at the 40-yard line. He is short of the first down by about 3. Milton Mack is there on the tackle.
Oh, a big job by Ken and Hinton in that offensive line because Chris Miller wanted to go deep. Right here, he wanted to deliver it. No one's open. Good coverage. He had to check off to about the 3rd receiver, and again Hinton working on Ricky Jackson and doing a fine job.
Yep, Jackson declares upfield. Hinton just takes him and rides him. That's not holding in the NFL. Ken does the same thing on the other side to Swilling. With that kind of time, Chris Miller will move the football.
3rd